So this is the bid kickoff meeting for the Hi-Vis Atlanta, a jack-up drilling rig owned by Hi-Vis International. Now this bid kickoff meeting is being recorded for those people that are not on site at the moment, and the recording will be available to everyone on the intranet. So just an overview of the project. Hi-Vis Atlanta, which we've refitted before in this facility, is a 30-plus-year-old jack-up drilling rig. It's due its special 5-year survey. And the primary focus for the client is 50 tonnes of steel replacement, which arise from a survey at Vista in November of 2009. Now the key schedule driver here is that all other work must fit inside this window. You need to refer to the statement of work. There is a number of other projects, but they are dependent on them being able to fit inside the steel replacement window. There will be a standard repair and maintenance package, and there is significant living quarter repair and upgrade package as well. And that has already been quoted by Walkers, and they will provide a quotation directly to us. So here's a picture of the rig at work. Remember, it's a 30-year-old rig, so the likelihood is there's going to be significant additional work coming on stream once we have the rig in our yard. The key will be trying to put together as much work into that 50-ton window as we can, but at the same time providing the client with a realistic schedule that shows we've got some space for variation work and new work coming online. In addition to the LQ work, the steel replacement and the repair and maintenance work, there is a number of project type packages. So these will be tendered on an EPC basis, so they are design, procurement, construction, installation packages. We expect the contract to be awarded in June of 2010, and the project should proceed in Q3 of 2010, and that is dependent on Hi-Vis's new contract with their client. So our competitors in this bid are Collins Oilfield Dubai. We know that they always bid with all-inclusive prices. They have a great reputation and they guarantee delivery. So that is something we are going to try and emulate for this bid. Docking World Abu Dhabi. We know that they will go in at low cost with many exclusions. We know they make their money out of variation. We must get over the low cost lure of Docking World Abu Dhabi. And they've got a significant advantage with the dry docking facility. We'll have to use a barge to dock the vessel. Therefore, that'll add to our schedule significantly. Vista Bahrain, not a strong competitor, but because they're located close to the oil field, they have a 5 to 10 day advantage on us. They also undertook the special survey, and they've got a relationship with the client because they're currently doing another project for Hi-Vis. Our strategy to win this work will be to bid fully compliant, no exclusions. Wherever the scope of work is well defined, quote, a fixed price. We are going to try and maximise the work inside the 50-ton window, so we need to come up with some innovative approaches to maximising the work we can fit inside that window. We know that we've been guilty of thinking of all scenarios and pumping our price up because we know that certain additional work may come in, but we only want to be quoting the work that is being asked for. If there's variations that will come in, so be it. We'll quote lean on the base work in anticipation of growth. Given the age of the vessel, we know there's going to be significant growth. So the schedule for the bid. The responsibility assignment matrix has already been issued on the 17th of January. We have people planned to go for a rig inspection between the 19th and 21st of January. All external work, that is all work that we intend to subcontract out, needs to be issued to vendors by the 21st of January. And we will set up vendor meetings probably a week after that to clarify any queries they may have. We need all of our material pricing, material takeoffs and vendor quotes to be back with our estimating department by the 28th of January for it to meet the bid schedule. We need to see a first draft of the schedule on the 28th of January, and we need a first draft estimate by the 1st of February. We will then have a review and approval process 2nd and 3rd of February, where we'll review the estimate against the price, make adjustments, and finally submit the bid on the 4th of February. From the responsibility assignment matrix, all of the jobs have been allocated to the appropriate rig inspector. So one inspector per job has been allocated, and he will come back and confirm the scope of work after the rig inspection. We had a meeting with the client on the 13th and 14th of January, and we've included all of the comments against each of the line items in the scope of work inside the RAM. Don't wait for the rig inspection. We need to start quoting today. For all intents and purposes, we just see the rig inspection as a confirmation process. If there's anything different, we'll make adjustments. If we wait to start bidding and estimating this work, we will not make the schedule. Again, key points, only quote what has been requested. We know that the client has a lot of wish lists and a lot of nice to haves. We are ignoring these for the time being. They spoke about a lot of additional work in the client meeting. We cannot get sidetracked by that. We will just quote the written scope. If we feel there's enough information to provide an additional quote outside the base bid, we will do that. But for the time being, only quote what's documented. As I said, quoting has got to commence today. The rig inspection is primarily a confirmation progress, and already Hi-Vis have provided us with significant information. The scopes of work that they've provided us are very detailed with a lot of information. We've paired this rig before, we know what it looks like. We should be able to put some very solid prices on the table. Now, a key point, all estimates are to include a basis of estimate. I've seen a lot of bids coming in recently with estimates where we can't trace back where the numbers came from. I must see a basis of estimate against every WBS element in the bid, and I will distribute some guidelines exactly how I want to see that broken down. So Walkers, the LQ modification people, have already inspected the vessel and they will quote directly to us. And then once we've got their quote, we need to review it, and then we'll have a discussion with them, see how we can speed up the schedule, see what their schedule is. Now, another point on our estimating processes, do not include any contingency or reserve or pad or fat, with the exception of our standard production contingencies, because what we're getting is we're getting contingency on top of contingency in our bids, and we've got to wipe that out. We'll add contingency at the project level based on a risk assessment, and I will be coordinating the risk assessment for the bid. Now, of course, the schedule is the key differentiator. Getting the 50 tons worth of steel done and getting as much work inside that 50 ton window will be a key differentiator for the winner of this bid. So we need to look at the sequencing for the steel replacement and look at what our tonnage rates on a daily basis are. And then we need to work out some workarounds and some innovative processes to try and speed that up. If there's a payback by spending more money on additional craneage or additional people working shifts, then we'll consider that. All options to consider schedule reduction are open. Remembering all other work must fit inside the 50 ton window. So it's going to be a bit of a moving feast as we reduce the days it'll take us to do the 50 tons worth of steel. Then obviously there's going to be a balance between how much of the other work we can do and then how much contingency we have in there for additional growth work. So we're going to do an estimate review on the 2nd and 3rd of February, as I mentioned. I need to see the basis of estimate, and on top of that, once I've seen the basis of estimate, then we'll do a risk assessment. We need to reduce our overhead profit contingency, which will be supported by strong basis of estimate and confidence in the estimate. If we understand we've got the estimate right and the risk is low of the estimate being incorrect, then we can then go to our senior management and see if we can trim as much of the overhead off as we can to be as lean as possible for the bid. The schedule review will be the 2nd and 3rd of February as well, alongside the estimate, and we need to be aggressive about that. We need to develop a histogram for the project and the whole yard, and we need to be able to prove to the client we have the manpower to do this job. We need an execution plan ready by the 3rd of February, and then we'll go to Martin on the 3rd of February with the final proposal, and then we'll get that signed off by the Chief Executive on the 4th of February.